Hey, I'm Dominic Goli alongside my partners Jake Spencer and Handsome Glover, and today we're going to teach you all a little something about the history of comic books. We had a lot of fun putting this project together, and I hope you all have a lot of fun watching it. Before Superman was a household name and had millions of fans, before Batman films grossed over $3 million in ticket sale revenue, comic books started off much, much simpler and date back farther than you probably think. The year was 1837, and a writer and illustrator by the name of Rudolf Topfer published the earliest known comic book, The Adventures of Obadiah Oldbuck. It's been said that Topfer created the first comic strip in 1827, but didn't have his work technically published until 10 years later. He's had a numerous amount of comic books that were extremely successful and reprinted in many different languages. In 1842, The Adventures of Obadiah Oldbuck became the first comic book published in the United States. From here, comic books would go on to develop their own American style, bringing us 4 ages of amazing stories and illustrations. I'm going to turn it over to Handsome so he can tell us more about these ages of comics.
The 4 ages of comics is the Platinum Age, Golden Age, Silver Age, and Bronze Age. Starting off with the Platinum Age from 1997 to 1893, The Yellow Kid published by G.W. Dillingham Company for 50 cents. The 196-page book coined the name comic book early 1987. Then in 1931, the next big thing came along with Walt Disney and the Adventures of Mickey Mouse. Popeye came in later as the first character with powers. He was not considered a superhero, but eating his spinach did make his strength abnormal. This helped authors in the Golden Age sprout some ideas about superheroes.
Between the years 1938 and 1956, the Golden Age was a different approach for comic book lovers at the time. This introduced the first superheroes, which included Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. In the June of 1938, Action Comics #1 was released and showed a man wearing bright blue and red holding a car above his head. This man became known as Superman. Superman was created by writer Jerry Siegel and artist Joe Shuster during the early 1930s, but was constantly rejected until it's published in 1938. This changed the way people viewed comic books. Instead of funny or cheesy stories being told, people could read about heroic feats and go into another world that was actually quite similar to ours. As the Golden Age pressed on, more and more superheroes were created and paved a way for the Silver Age. The comic book industry was in fact becoming a dying business, and people wanted something new and different. Between the years 1957 and 1969, the Silver Age brought the industry back to life with The Flash, Spider-Man, and then Fantastic Four. Even though these comics were still superhero-based, they were unique and brought a fresh taste back to the comic book lovers. This age also introduced the Marvel Age, which included X-Men and the Avengers.
In the 70s, the comic book world started to take a turn not for the better or worse, just onto a different path. This time period was known as the Bronze Age. Comics went into deeper stories for the head heroes. They also introduced the secondary heroes.
During the early 1940s, a highly distinguished psychologist named Dr. Frederick Wertham came into the comic book scene and began to change how people viewed them. Wertham began conducting research on how comic books influence violence or drugs amongst children and young adults. He later wrote a book on his research called Seduction of Innocence, and it caught worldwide known attention. Because of his reasoning, this caused a U.S. Senate investigation on the content that comic books put out.
After the investigation took hold, the comic book companies around the world formed the Comic Magazine Association of America and presented the Comics Code Authority, which put a censorship on all comic books being presented or published in the United States. This was a huge step forward for comic books in the public eye, but also a huge step back because of the loss of sales.
Comics began to come home with us, not just in our hands anymore, but on our TVs. The early comics on TV were Popeye, Mickey Mouse. Over time, comics have grown by an enormous amount on TV. The quality has improved and the characters have mixed on our home screen. Teen Titans have brought many characters together. Other TV shows bring back old characters such as Spider-Man, Batman, and a lot of superheroes from X-Men.
DC Comics, owned by Time Warner Incorporated, recently stated that with the success of TV shows, there has been an increased interest in comics from a new and different demographic. It will bring a fresher, more modern tone to its new slate of storied superheroes. Some of these TV shows include shows like The Flash, which was recently voted as People's Choice Awards for the best new TV show of 2015.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. A friend recently gave me the idea for a new name, and something tells me it's gonna catch on.
As you can see, Comic books have been a part of American history for over 100 years. They have evolved in many different ways and have been able to produce movies and multiple TV shows. Comic books have brought us a great amount of entertainment with their content and will hopefully do so for many years to come. Thank you for watching this video produced by myself, Jake Spencer, and Handsome Glover. We hope you enjoyed it and hopefully learned a thing or two about the history of comic books.
That's all, folks.